Well, there was some good, some bad, and some ugly in this one, but ultimately the Dodgers lose the series finale in New York, still win the series, but plenty to talk about this game, some good, some bad, and some ugly, like I said. So let's get into the postcast.
You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, Dodger fans? Welcome to the Locked On Dodgers postcast. I am Jeff Snyder, filling in this week for Pete Fox here on the postcast. As you know, probably know, I am one of the hosts of the Locked On Dodgers podcast, 5 days a week, every weekday morning, or the night before every weekday morning, live on YouTube with my co-host Vince Imperio. Vince is back. He and I will be live over on our YouTube channel, the Locked On Dodgers podcast YouTube channel, immediately after I am done here. This is the postcast on Locked On Sports Los Angeles. Digging into this game, the Dodgers lost to the Yankees. What was the final score? 7-5. I know they lost by 2 runs. Yeah, 7-5. And ultimately, it was, or 6-4. I can't remember now. All scores look alike. I know they lost by 2. But ultimately, there was some good stuff in this game. Tyler Glasnow struck out 12 batters in 6 innings. Unfortunately, he made a couple bad pitches, and I see some comments. We'll talk about Glasnow first. I see some comments in the chat already that Glasnow was left in the game too long. The fact is, yeah, it was a 3-run homer by Trent Grisham. Trent Grisham isn't a good hitter. He hit a home run, and 3 of his 5 hits this year are home runs. He's basically Chris Taylor with power, and with or without the power, you trust the pitcher to get him out. And he made a bad pitch, a really bad pitch. He threw it right down the middle. Trent Grisham doesn't hit very well this year, but he's still a major league hitter, and he does have power. So you throw him a fastball right in the middle, sometimes he's going to get the hit. Even that one, I suspect that 3 out of 10 times he's going to get that hit. Glasnow probably gets away with that sometimes, but this time he didn't. And that was a 3-run homer, which the Dodgers had a 3-2 lead at that point. Instead, it turned into a 5-3 deficit, and ultimately was too much for them to overcome, which is a bummer. But I don't think there's really any reasonable argument that Glasnow shouldn't have still been out there. It was the 6th inning. His pitch count was under control, and the 2 guys on base both got on infield singles. It's not like he was getting knocked around. Ultimately, it was a bad pitch. And yeah, if we had a crystal ball, even if with a crystal ball, they wouldn't have taken him out of the game. They would have just said, hey, don't throw the fastball down the middle to Grisham. That's basically what it boils down. For whatever reason, all the Dodgers pitchers had struggles with Grisham tonight. He had 2 walks too. You shouldn't walk a guy who can't hit. You definitely shouldn't give up a 3-run homer to him. But in the end, that's on Glasnow. And like I said, he would get away with that most of the time. But I think it's pretty, and I'm not surprised. Like the comment saying he left him out there too long is from somebody we know, hates Dave Roberts, Nando 390. I see more comments down here from Michael Carrillo. I don't know Michael Carrillo's proclivities towards Dave Roberts, although the comment Dave can't manage for his life makes me suspect that he already thought Dave Roberts was a bad manager coming into this game. And I think that's really the only way to blame this one on Dave Roberts is if you came into the game inclined to blame Dave Roberts every time the Dodgers lose, or at least pretty often. Personally, I am much more often on the side of the players in the game. They are the ones who win or lose. And and Michael makes a point. We didn't use our top 3. We didn't use our top 3 relievers at all in this game. That's true. That's because the Dodgers didn't have a lead. And yeah, you could, with the way the guys have been worked lately, all those guys were available. But when you're battling for a lead, the chance of going to extra innings, imagine if you bring in Evan Phillips when you're down, and then you have Yohan Ramirez in extra innings after you tied it up. And there's, again, it's all crystal ball stuff, but there's no manager in baseball who would have brought in one of his best relievers to pitch in this situation, especially because the fact is Yohan Ramirez has been very good. Aaron Judge has homered off a lot of really good pitchers. And Yohan Ramirez has been really, really good since the meltdown. This is the first time he's allowed a run since then. And yeah, it was an insurance run. Ultimately, the Dodgers didn't score enough to win anyway. The Dodgers scored 4 runs. The run that Yohan Ramirez gave up was the 6th run. 5 was already more than 4. And so you can look at all the decisions that Dave Roberts made in this game. But ultimately, I just disagree. And I get Michael's point. He says Dave punted the game, putting Yohan out there at the second inning was a bad choice. Yeah, I think it made a lot of sense. And I think that Aaron Judge was as likely to homer off anybody else who was in the game because Aaron Judge hits a lot of home runs. He's a very good hitter. And so, and again, that's not what cost him the game. The Dodgers scored 4 runs. Tyler Glasnow gave up 5. Tyler Glasnow's a losing pitcher in this game for a reason. And yeah, it sucks. And it does change the game if you're down by 1 instead of down by 2. But ultimately, in the end, the players play the game. And it's, I have a really hard time blaming Dave Roberts for this one. I don't know what to think about Tyler Glasnow. He finally got a lead. First time since like the Reagan administration, Tyler Glasnow got to pitch with a lead. And like I said, he pitched really, really well. Made a bad pitch to Cabrera for the home run and a really bad pitch to Grisham for the home run. Seems like a lot of Glasnow's bad pitches lately are going for home runs. He's not making many bad pitches and they're all going for home runs. We've seen it. This is 3 starts in a row, at least, where he got knocked around by home runs, where he overall pitched really well and made a couple bad pitches. And I don't know if that's something about him that he's more inclined to give up home runs on his bad pitches, or if it's just a string of bad luck. I remember Clayton Kershaw back in 2016, 2017, somewhere around there, just suddenly, like, the only runs he was giving up was on home runs. He was still pitching really well, but just his home run rate like tripled. And we found out later the ball was juiced. This year, it's not a juiced ball. As far as we can tell, it's de-juiced. But yeah, for some reason, the last few games, Glasnow's mistakes end up in the right field bleachers. And I think all 4 times it's been the left-handed hitters. And so maybe it's something about that. Stuff for him to look at anyway with the pitching staff. But the fact is, it was rough. And when you strike out 12 guys, he had a really good swing and miss rate, getting a lot of called strikes. Just everything about this game was good except for the 2 home runs. Even like the other run he allowed should have been unearned. That's a catch that has to be made by Andy Pages on Aaron Judge's double. I did air quotes if you're listening on the podcast version. That's an error on Pages, but they called it a double. So that run should have been unearned. Yeah, it's just one of those games. And in the end, this is probably a good segue. I'm going to come back in a second because the fact is the Dodgers offense did show up, which is, good and bad. It makes it a little more frustrating that the pitching couldn't get the job done, but also maybe a little bit of hope for the future. So anyway, I'm going to come back in a second and we will dig into the offense. So thanks for being with me here on the Locked On Dodgers postcast. This episode is brought to you by Supply House. Order supplies from the website that's made for the skilled trades. Find thousands of parts from hundreds of brands in just a couple clicks at supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com gives you 24/7 access to a huge selection of plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with fast delivery anywhere in the U.S. Need help with an order? Get industry-leading after-sales service from their friendly and knowledgeable customer support team and talk to a real person every time. And there's great news for plumbers, technicians, and contractors. Being a pro has its perks. Trade industry professionals can join their free Trademaster program for free shipping and serious discounts on every order. Over 100,000 pros already trust the Trademaster program to deliver results. Apply for your membership today and get a competitive edge on every order at supplyhouse.com/T-M. Save money and time when you order online. Order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, and more, and you can bet it all on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use to bet everything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. So You just got to win a bet, a $5 bet. So if you feel like you know a sure thing, maybe one day the Dodgers are playing against a team that you just know the Dodgers are going to beat, put $5 on the Dodgers to win. And if they do, you get $200 in bonus bets. So visit FanDuel.com/locked on and add a big win to your summer bucket list. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Hey, I'm back. Thanks again for being with me here on the Postcast. I am Jeff Snyder. I am filling in for Pete Fox this week. And it was a fun weekend to fill in for him. This game, not so much, but I will be with you again. No game on Monday, but then the Rangers series Tuesday through Thursday. I will be with you after those games here on the Postcast. Just scrolling through some of the comments. I guess let's talk about the Andy Pages slide really quick. I see Douglas McWilliams saying that Pages looks safe. Michael Carrillo saying Dave should have challenged to play at third. I only saw the initial play and then the replay they showed. He looked clearly out to me, but I've seen enough people on social media and now here in the comments saying that he was safe, that Seabad agrees with me. Looks like he was out. But yeah, what Mr. Seabad says here is what I saw, that Pages' lead leg was clearly over the base, never touched it. And it was a terrible slide. And so by the time his right knee got to the bag, he was out. That's what I saw. And I could be wrong. But I'll have to watch it again. I'd be interested to know what the rest of you thought. I've seen some of your comments here. I do think that if Pages slides better, he's clearly safe and he's called safe on the field. And it's an easy call because his lead leg definitely beat the throw, but his lead leg never touched the base. And we saw it again. We saw his slide the other night in the 10th inning on Friday, where it was a terrible slide that he was out trying to go from second to third on the ground ball to shortstop when he should have gone to the inside of the bag, the home plate side of third base, probably head first, a hook slide with his hand. Instead, he tried to kind of get in the lane of the thrower, which is a good idea if you're going from first to second on a ground ball to first base. But you're never going to get far enough out on a play like that to get in the lane. So you got to try to avoid the tag. And we've seen he's had plays at second base where, again, he's either been out or almost out because his lead leg never touches the base. And we saw an example of a good slide at the end when Shohei Ohtani scored on the sac fly by Will Smith in the 8th inning. Shohei Ohtani did a great slide where his lead foot, and it's even harder to do it at home plate because home plate doesn't stick up. And Shohei, great slide, getting his lead foot down onto the plate to beat the throw. Yeah, it was a bad slide by Pages. I don't know. Maybe he was safe. I assume he looked so clearly out to me on the replay that I'm like questioning my sanity. What did I miss? Why do so many people think he was safe when he looked so clearly out to me? And obviously he looked out to Petey and whoever else is in the replay box telling Dave Roberts, don't bother challenging it. He was clearly out. And Seabad says the ESPN broadcast agreed. I actually had the game on mute for most of the game, had in-laws over to celebrate my wife's birthday and stuff. And so, but yeah, anyway, either way, whether Pages is out or safe, he needs to slide better. That's definitely a weakness on his game that I hope he's going to work on, because we've seen now that it can actually have a major impact on a game. And I don't understand why it's happening the way it is. But going back to the offense did show up for this game. They scored a few runs off Luis Gil, which teams hadn't done in a long time. He hadn't allowed more than one run in 7 games. We had Mookie Betts hit a 2-run double off him. Teoscar Hernandez hit another home run, looking like he was going to be the hero again. That put the Dodgers up 3-2 until Trent Grisham's homer. That was the big play of the game. And Luis Gil looked good. When you've got a 92 mile an hour changeup that moves that much, it's kind of ridiculous. The fastball is good. The command is good. I mean, he's a good pitcher. It's understandable why he is having so much success this year. And seeing the Dodgers be able to score off him, like the Dodgers offense, it's no secret, they've struggled the last few weeks. And now we are like Friday night, obviously Dodgers didn't score till the 11th inning. Yesterday, they scored 11 runs. Today they put up 5, including 3 off a guy who's maybe the front runner for Cy Young Award in the American League. It's still early, but this team, the way that, Gavin Lux had 3 hits, Pa has had a double. It looked like a really good hitting team. And so I'm hoping that what we're seeing is things start to turn towards the offense getting a little bit better. All in all, Vince and I over on the podcast, we joke about how or talk about the best and worst ways to win and lose a series. And obviously the worst way to win a series is to win the first 2 and then lose on Sunday. And so you leave the series like, oh man, we could have swept. But the fact is Dodgers won this series, and that is a big deal. And as KD mentions, yes, no Juan Soto makes a difference. No Max Muncy makes a difference too. Obviously Max Muncy isn't quite Juan Soto. But all in all, like this was a really well-played series. I don't know, even Juan Soto, he doesn't get hits in every game. The fact is the Dodgers held the Yankees scoreless for 10 innings on Friday, even though Aaron Judge was in the game. Aaron Judge had 3 home runs in this series, and they still held the Yankees scoreless for 10 innings. Yeah, maybe the Yankees score in that game. If Soto's in the game, maybe not. I think the Dodgers win Saturday's game, whether Soto's in the game or not. I don't think Soto makes up the 8-run difference. And so in the end, the only person who can make up an 8-run difference in one game is Teoscar Hernandez. So yeah, maybe the Yankees win this series if Soto's in the game. No guarantee. And all in all, a really well played series, I thought. That's what do you guys think? Like, are you feeling better about the offense? Like, I feel good about the offense right now. Not like, okay, let's start the playoffs right now, but I feel like the offense has come out of it, that guys are starting to hit. Freddie Freeman is hitting okay, hitting pretty well. He's breaking out. Mookie Betts isn't quite at his April level, obviously. Neither is Shohei Ohtani, but they are both maybe starting to break out of it a little bit. And the bottom of the lineup is contributing a little bit more. Michael Carrillo disagrees. I suspect that Michael Carrillo and I, if we had a conversation, maybe the only thing we would agree on is that we love the Dodgers, and that's okay. It's typical Mookie on that last at bat. Mookie struck out. Guess what? That's not typical Mookie. Mookie has a very low strikeout rate this season, and Holmes is a very good pitcher. I don't know. I have a hard time being too grumpy about winning a series against the team with the best record in baseball. And you can, talk about Juan Soto or Dave Roberts or whatever. But the fact is Dodgers won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. And that's who was on the schedule in early June, and the Dodgers won the series. So I feel pretty good about that. Even though this game, it was in their hands, and it's frustrating to me that it was one bad pitch to Trent Grisham that changed the game. Partly because Trent Grisham has the most punchable face in baseball for me. But in the end, all in all, good series for the Dodgers. So I'm going to come back in a minute. We're going to talk a little bit more about this game. Maybe look forward a little bit to the Rangers series, dig into more of your comments. While I'm reading this next ad, you guys in the chat, let me know what we want to talk about. I will be right back. So keep it here on the POSTCAST. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. right now you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. All right, I am back. Thanks again for being with me on the postcast. Again, I am Jeff Snyder, guest hosting for Pete Fox. Pete will be back, sometime next week. I know I'm doing the postcast after the Rangers series. I'm not sure what is going on for the Royals series. Totally, I don't know if there will be postcasts or not. We'll see. But I am with you for at least the next 3 games. Dodgers have a day off on Monday, and of course, you can listen to me 5 days a week on the Locked On Dodgers podcast with my buddy Vince Samperio. Vince and I will be going live basically as soon as I'm done here. I just need time to close this out and hop into the other live stream over on the Locked On Dodgers podcast YouTube channel. So hopefully we'll see a bunch of you over there too. Digging back in, another comment from Michael Carrillo. Way too many errors lately. Did the Dodgers make any errors tonight? I'm trying to remember. Let me pull up the box score real quick. No errors tonight. Did they make any yesterday? No errors yesterday. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you mean, Michael. The defense, and Craig says talk about defense, third base and shortstop. I mean, there was a play tonight that Kike made a diving attempt on and didn't make the play. That's not an error, and it's not even really a bad defensive play. It's a play that a Gold Glover probably makes, but I don't think it's a play you can expect people to make. And I feel like the defense has been pretty okay, and the numbers back that up. The Mookie has made a lot of errors this season. I talked about that the other day, though, that I think it was, I don't remember if it was on the postcast or on the podcast, but that Mookie Betts, he was after he had his really bad game, which was, when was that? The last game against the Pirates? Oh yeah. When the whole defense was terrible, that last game against the Pirates. But ultimately, Pages didn't have an error, Michael, as I mentioned earlier. It should have been called an error for sure. They called it a double for Aaron Judge. But yeah, I think Mookie is going to, there was a play up the middle today that he did a good job getting to it and then couldn't get the throw off. That's an infield single too. If we're talking about those plays tonight, the 2 in the infield, I think we are setting our standard way too high, because I think 90% of third basemen and shortstops don't make those plays. The Pages fly ball definitely should have been called an error. Maybe it will eventually be updated to an error. For right now, it's a double for Aaron Judge. And Pages has been very good defensively. And so I don't think one error on a guy is enough to say too many errors. Errors happen. But the errors in this series weren't really the story, or even part of the story, I don't think. They made one error on Friday. I can't remember what it was. Obviously, it didn't end up leading to anything, because the only run that the Yankees scored was the Manfred runner in extra innings. So I don't think the defense has been the issue. The Dodgers, where am I? So R. Du Chateau asked why Yohan Ramirez was in a high leverage spot, only down by 1 run. Yohan Ramirez has been really good. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, the fact is, we're going to talk about this on the podcast in a little bit. Yohan Ramirez, since the meltdown, has been excellent, to the point where Dodgers are going to have tough decisions to make. He's been really good. He has really good stuff. There was no real reason to think that Ramirez was more likely to give up a home run to Aaron Judge than anybody else. This wasn't a punt. This was, I have all these good relievers. I'm going to use Yohan Ramirez here. I don't know what else to. Okay. All right. I will just stop putting that guy's chats up. So now they told me I don't know baseball. I think I have it on pretty good authority. I know baseball pretty well. So but glad you're here. Numbers count. And even when they're from people who like to insult the host, I can take it. I got thick a lot of things, including skin. All I wish I knew baseball though. What else we want to talk about? Shoot in the chat what you want to talk about. Mr. Seabad, props all the Dodger fans at Yankee Stadium. Yeah, Dodger fans showing up at Yankee Stadium this weekend was awesome. A lot of energy there, and it's always fun to see Dodger fans on the road, and they travel well to most stadiums. And obviously Yankee Stadium is one that's on a lot of people's bucket list. And so it's not surprising that a lot of Dodger fans made the choice to make the trip this weekend. That was really, really, really fun to see. And now the Dodgers get to come home, have a day off. They'll fly home tonight, have a good day off on Monday, where all they have to do is Andy Paz needs to work on sliding. Everybody else gets the day off, I think. And then ultimately, hopefully take on the Rangers and sweep them. Let's ride this energy. The Rangers have been struggling this year. They've been struggling this weekend. They did beat the Giants to salvage not getting swept by the Giants on Sunday. And I guess that's one of the bright side. The Giants and Padres both lost. And so the Dodgers didn't lose any ground in the division. And in the end, a series win is good. That's like it again. Like as a Dodger fan, I would love for them to win every single game. And obviously the Dodgers would love to win every single game. I don't think that they didn't care about winning this game. I think they put a lot of good stuff together. And in the end, one bad pitch to Trent Grisham was the difference. And that's not a question of effort. It's not a question of anything other than execution. And so fun time this weekend. Craig asked if the Dodgers should have walked Judge a couple times this series. I can't think of any situations where I would have intentionally walked Judge. In the 11th inning on Friday, he did drive in a run with first base open, but he was representing the tying run. You're not going to put him on base intentionally. In this game, like he's leading off an inning, you're down by one run. You're not going to walk the leadoff hitter, even when it's Aaron Judge. I didn't see any situation where I would have intentionally walked Aaron Judge, at least that I can remember. Obviously nothing on Saturday that would, Dodgers had the lead most of the game. So I don't like intentional walks for the most part anyway, unless there's a clear competitive advantage where we need a double play. So you're setting up a double play or something. I don't like the idea of walking a guy just because you're afraid because he's a good hitter. I think that is, I think that's where you tell your pitcher, go get him. And sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. And regardless of who the pitcher is, that's the case. Yeah, so I wouldn't have walked Judge. Craig, if you could think of a specific at bat that I'm forgetting situation, let me know in the chat. But nothing comes to mind when I would have walked Judge intentionally. But yeah, BC basically nails it. Their worst hitter beat us today. It's exactly the same as if Chris Taylor had hit a big 3-run home run to win a game for the Dodgers. Trent Grisham has been really, 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 really bad. His batting average is lower than Chris Taylor's. He's been terrible this year. He's only playing because Juan Soto is hurt. He plays good defense. Sound familiar? Only playing because of injuries, plays good defense, can't hit. Yeah, he's Chris Taylor. And he got a pitch to hit, and he hit it. It sucks. And again, it sucks more because it's Grisham, because I want to punch him anyway. But in the end, that's basically the story of this game. Trent Grisham got a fastball down the middle, and he hit it. Giancarlo Stanton wasn't hitting good. Craig mentions, Stanton looked pretty bad, and he's looked like he still obviously has power, but there is so many holes in that swing. It's crazy to me that he used to be so good, because the swing doesn't look that much different than he used to, but for whatever reason, the holes in the swing have gotten much bigger. Stanton batting cleanup for this team doesn't make sense to me. But Michael Creo does mention that Trent Grisham does have a higher OPS than Chris Taylor. Yeah, that's because 3 of his 5 hits are home runs. And so like I said earlier in the episode, he's Chris Taylor with power. You're a little more likely to pay for a mistake against him than against Taylor. But just glancing through the chat, if there's anything else we need to touch on before we go. Hopefully the Dodgers, Craig says, get them next game. If the Dodgers play a next game against the Yankees, it will be in the World Series. And so I'm in favor of that. that people talked a lot this weekend about, is this a World Series preview? I hope so. I definitely hope at least the Dodgers half of it is a World Series preview, and we shall see. But in the end, Dodgers lost this game, won the series, and I wish they had gone out on a high note. But all in all, good weekend for the Dodgers. Good weekend for us here on the Postcast. Having fun talking Dodgers with all of you, except for the one guy who mistakenly said, I don't know baseball. You know what? We all have blind spots. So that's going to do it for me. I will see you guys on Monday evening later, because the Dodgers will be at home. And so it'll be more like 10 something Pacific that I will be here on the Postcast with you guys. And it'll be fun. Enjoy talking Dodgers with you. If you are with us, hop over to the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, where Vince and I will be going live basically as soon as I can hop from one room to the other. I like that, Joel. Big sexy. Hey, that sounds familiar. Seemed like there was another unattractive fat guy who was jokingly called Big Sexy. Me and Bartolo got a lot in common. I will talk to you guys on Monday night. Thanks. We will see you later.